What I'm doing this morning is I'm rotating the teeth on the 4x40 mulcher. It's sort of like, I guess when you look at your chipper knives and your mulcher teeth, stump grinder teeth, the knife on the shear, it's important that they're sharp and they're set. You know, with the chipper, there's an anvil setting as the knife comes around, so that setting is important. The stump grinder's the same way. Anything with teeth and knives, it's important. So the last couple of times that I've used this, I've run it pretty rough, and that seems to be what happens. You get to the end of some of these jobs, and you just power through, you hammer right along, and you have all intentions of the next day you're going to sharpen it up, clean it up. That never really happens, so I've got a little bit of work for it. So let me show you here. When you see this one, you see how beat up this is? Or even if I was to show you this one, if that was the leading edge right there, okay, that's obviously beat up. So this skid here, this shoe, this axe, if you could picture as that's coming around, the distance between there and there, it's like the depth gauge on your saw. If it's too high, you're going to get sawdust. If the depth gauge is hitting first, the depth gauge is supposed to be 30 thou below that tooth, roughly. So the tooth hits first, it's picked up out of the chain, it's pulled forward, the depth gauge hits next, pulls the tooth down, back on the chain, the angle shoots the wood out. So that's important. So with this is sitting on the ground, and as this comes around and it's in the brush that I'm mulching, if this is too high as compared to this, it's going to pull all that tangly brush and limbs, especially hardwood, yellow birch, and it's just going to wrap right around. So you've got to rotate them. So now you see how this angle's a little, or there's a little more meat left, and there's pretty good meat left here. So instead of putting all new ones on, I'm going to rotate them all and then maybe give them a little buff. And that'll get me through the job that I want. But it's important because what happens, it's hard on fuel, it's hard on bearings, it's hard on you, it's hard on the machine, everything shakes and pounds. So it's hard on everything except what it should be hard on, which is the wood. So there's 40 of them, like 10, and as you roll right around, you can see longer on this side, so I'm just going to rotate them around. And I just use my impact with my adjustable, all my wrenches that I want. Normally I would hold this with a 1-inch wrench and hit it with the impact, just buzz it off just enough, rotate it, and I don't tighten them back with the impact because it'll snap them right off. I just use a power bar with 9/16 socket and tighten them up. So I'm going to get at this. And there probably should be another washer there, I believe. So I just select what I think looks to be the best. Right about there. It's right there. Yeah, see, those are pretty beat up. But there's some good meat right there. And this is not, like if I was starting a brand new job and there was a week's work or something, I'd probably give this the once over. But I've got probably about an hour's or 2 hours work. Okay, where did that last tooth go? There's always one. Oh, right there. Okay, what have I got that's good there? That looks pretty good right there. I don't even think I'm going to have to buff those up for what I'm going to do, because it's probably 4 to 5 year old limbs that I think are just going to, you know, you can hit them with the bucket and they just kind of powder up. So that looks pretty good, really. You compare them to these. Okay, let's buzz those off. And I just try to give them a quick hit so I can rotate them. See what we got. See, it's fairly easy to just rotate that around. And that looks, well, maybe right there. Stuff that's in other machines. This is what'll happen sometime. You'll get teeth that'll break off and wood'll go in there. So I always keep lots of spares. And then what I'll do, I very seldom have a hammer, and the wood's always got a hatchet. I just take an old one. See, it just knocks the piece of wood out. These aren't new by any means, and I'm sure there's a time and place for new. See how the edge of that is all beat up? That's what'll cause a lot of this. But when you're doing field surgery, you just want to get back to work. You don't want this thing, it gets so out of balance if it's missing a tooth. So even if you got a beat up one, you just put it on. And when I first bought this, I swore that I would do everything the way everybody tells you should do. Tell you how long that lasts. You do what you do. There. That's 40 of them done. Field dressed, I would call it. I'm happy with the sharp angles. A little rusty looking, but they're pretty sharp. They would cut you. And there was 2 missing, so we'll be back in balance again. Nice leading edge. I'm not going to buff them. I could just give them a little buff, but if it was standing material like that, and you wanted a real sharp edge, because you wanted it to mulch that material going down, yes, I would buff them up. But where it's broken, dead, dry, powdery stuff on the ground, this is quite adequate. Okay, belts are adjusted, greased, ready to roll. And there's always a bit of grunt work left. Always a bit of grunt work. Always a bit of grunt work. This will be so much better when I have the 2 cradles. The cradle's made, and then the sleeve and everything sits in there. This flopping over won't happen. You know, I'm getting there.